Hi, my name is Terry from Sweet Pea Papers and the Sweet Pea Papers Facebook group. This is video 5 in our Lavender and Lace series, and this is the papers, are a collaboration between LineDotArrow and Cara Branding Creations. This is my design team project for March of 2023. Ta-da! Got it all out. So now in video 5, all we have to do is make the cover. So what I've done so far is I've measured a little bit bigger than, or a little bit wider than the width of our signature, which is here. And then I've made sure on the height that I have enough room for the 1/4 of an inch in that we're going to put the holes, and then 1/8 of an inch in for the top of the signature. That doesn't look like I did. Well, I'm measuring really big. Okay, so you can see about how much I left at the top and the bottom. Now, I had measured 1 inch in because usually I have an inch fold over on the paper on either side. But I had glued these two pieces of paper together. Let me go back to that part. And then I'm using a 1 1/4 inch spine. I was going to use a 1 1/2, but it looked too big. I'm kind of discombobulated. I moved my work surface around so the whole thing showed, and I moved the camera back a little bit, a little farther away so you could see everything. So on my bigger books, I'm used to using 3 pieces of paper and this seam, because you overlap it just a little bit and glue them together. Okay, and that gives you a big enough piece of paper to work with. But measuring in 1 inch to start with, to make the piece straight or double check straight, made this seam fall right on the corner where the book is going to bend, and that's no good. So we're not going to do it that way. I did measure the inch up, and that's going to allow us to make them straight because we'll just put them on the line right over. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to start with the spine, and we're going to put it in the center. Now this is 2 thicknesses, so I glued 2 together of lightweight chipboard. Now this is still just like 2 cereal boxes glued together, so it's still kind of flimsy. You can do 1 heavyweight chipboard, but it takes a little more to get it cut. Now, those of you that use a rotary cutter, and a ruler may be better off than those of us that have to use a paper trimmer. I'm not sure. It just depends on how big the book is, because as we all know, when you fold out your paper trimmer, that 6 inches is right in that gully right there, and it's really hard to get it correct. So back to what I was saying. So we have 2 thicknesses of lightweight chipboard, and you can use cereal board or cardboard, and any kind of cardboard you want. If you want to use a little bit thicker cardboard, then you may not have to glue them together depending on what you're using. So what I've decided to do is start with this piece and put it in the center, so that way our seam is in the center, and I'm just going to line it up across that 1 inch line to make sure that it's straight. Then I'm going to put a piece on either side, and that's going to give me a little bit more than 1 inch on either end, but that's okay. I'm not going to trim either end. I'm just going to fold it in. Our inside papers will cover it anyway. Okay, so let's go ahead and glue this down. You want to glue it really well. And I refilled my glue to make sure. This takes quite a bit of glue to make sure that it was thinner, so that it came out nice. And you just don't want the paper to bubble up. So you want to make sure, because when you flex it, you don't want the paper to have an airspace in the center that it pulls away from the cardboard. I'm just telling you this from experience. So we're going to glue it down I'm going to put the seam in the center, if I can get my hand right, and put it right across that straight line. It still doesn't look like it's in the center at the top. I'm not really sure how that is, but it's probably an optical illusion. And I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to glue it and put it on next to this one. Now I want it a little bit more snug. Now you got to be sure to you have to make sure that there's enough space in between where you place this piece of cardboard, chipboard, whatever you want to call it. I'm just going to call it cardboard because that's what I'm going to end up forgetting and calling it that anyway. It is technically cardboard. But anyway, I am going to put it a touch closer than the spacer I normally use because this is a little bit flimsy and I don't want the cover to be too loose. I don't want it to slide back and forth as much or that much or at all. Okay. Same with this. You don't have to put a ton in the middle. I don't anyway. You just want to make sure the paper's completely stuck down to the chipboard. See, I remembered it. Okay. Oops. Like I said, I moved my board around, my glass working surface around. Now I'm not sure what's where. So I'm going to lay this on that line. And I'm going to put it about that far apart, I think. No, I'm going to need to... Okay. Came off the line. Okay. Now we're going to do the other piece. I'll glue this side. This one's a little bit off and I don't want the part that's off here a little bit to be along here. I want it to be along the edge. So I'm going to glue this side. I think I flipped it around wrong, but that's alright. I can still make it work. Just flip it around. Just keep flipping it till you get it in the right place. And the reason I put the extra glue on the corners is so that I can slide it around a little bit. Of course, that center's going to grab. And along these sides. Now, this zigzag, when I smear it, will spread out. There's so much glue on here, the smell is actually bothering me a little bit. Oh, I'm using Fabri-Tac or Fabri-Fix. It doesn't matter, but this is Fabri-Tac. Okay, now I want to glue. Yeah. I'm going to glue it this way. So let's leave our gap. Put it straight on the line. Yeah, that'll be fine. You want to make sure you have enough room so this doesn't hit this, or it won't close properly. It won't open and close properly. So you can see that I've got about 1.5 inches, which is a little bit bigger than what I like to work with, but now this is 1 inch on the top and the bottom because it's 11 inches. 9 plus 1 inch and 1 inch is 11. So I didn't have to, you know, the measurements aren't going to be off or anything. Let's put this on here for a second. Oh, you know what was missing? Lucky Frog. Say hi to the Lucky Frog. Get a drink of pop. Okay, now we're going to cut the corners. You want to go in and close to the point, but not on it, and then back out. Now I'm going to put book corners on the corner of this metal ones, so I've got a little bit of leeway, but I don't really want to, you know, mess it up. It's a little awkward because they're so long on the... That one may be a little far out. Far out, man. The thing about leaving this extra is you're just going to use more glue. Okay, so let's do the edges. We're going to do the long side first. Put some glue along the edge here. Some people will cut this right here and, you know, fold it down separate. So whichever video works better for you, you know, on how to do it. Now, most of the time, people are going to sew the signatures in, but I'm not able to do that anymore. So, well, if I make the holes with the crocodile and put eyelets in, then I can, but then the hole usually ends up bigger than the thread or the, you know, floss. Okay. Oh, goodness. I'm just not used to where the edge of that is. I'm going to bend it up just a little bit. Probably should have done that first, but bend it up. And then we're going to pick it up, firmly holding it down, slide it towards you. Now right here, there's a little bit of a funny, kind of a funny spot. So I take my bone folder and flatten the tops anyway, but I just don't want it to crack. Make sure it's all glued down and staying down. Sometimes you have to kind of hold it and help it a little bit to stay stuck down, like right here. do the other long side. Especially with Fabri-Tac. If you're using white glue like art glitter glue, it grabs right away. So usually you're fine, but Fabri-Tac takes a minute to dry. So you have to kind of mess around with it a little bit until it dries. I'm wondering if the glue wasn't quite close enough to the edge on the other one. Bring it up just a little bit, kind of tell it what we're going to do with it. Okay, we're going to fold you. Hold down, slide it towards you. If you hear that little bit of a crackling noise, it's just the paper flattening out with the glue. My hair's coming out of my ponytail. I'm working. I am working. Yeah, it looks like both of the corners on this end are a little too long. I cut them out a little too far. This one looks pretty good. Now we're going to do the ends. Let's give it a little bit of a bend. This one's going to be a little bit more challenging because I left it long. And it's going to take more glue. Oh, for goodness sake. You need to get it glued down. The most important is the edges. Now we're going to do the same thing. Fold it up and over. Yeah, that one came out nice. There's a little bit of glue. You can just rub it off or use your glue eraser. Depends on the paper. I think I'll use my glue eraser. My finger must be a little bit dirty. Let's do this end. I'm going to wait to fold it this time. That seemed to work easier with putting the glue on. Now our 1¼ inch spine, we're going to put holes in the center. We're going to run the cord through. So I forgot to bend it a little bit. It's not as much of a worry, you know, on the ends as it is in the long sides. I'm going to put paper and lace on this. I'm going to have to take the glue eraser there. It's not too bad. It's a little extra pointy. That's alright. But you can see when it's a little bit longer, it comes in farther, but our paper's going to cover it. So now we're going to take our bone folder and use one of these, not one of these, even though these are great for other things. And you're going to run it right in this gap and do it flat. Don't do it like this, you'll poke right through the paper. This is the hardest part for me, to get it straight once we put our center paper on there. And that gives this right here an idea of where you want it to bend. Now we want this paper to be 1¼ inches wide plus 2 inches on either side. So that's 2, 4, 3¼ and then this little gap. So let's make it 4¼ Let's try that, see what it looks like. Well, we're going to have to measure. Oh no, that should be right. All right. That should be about right. Alright, now you're going to want to put a lot of glue on here, especially in the center where it goes on here. This is the most important part right here, as far as I'm concerned, of getting it glued down. Make sure you get the top glued to the edge. You don't want it to buckle up. Okay, now quickly, before this dries, I'm going to put some glue on here. You don't have to go past the paper. You just want to make sure there's a lot of glue in here, and then you want to run glue down in here. You want to make it even from top to bottom, of course. And mine's a little over that way, but it doesn't matter. I mean, you don't want to be too close, you know, way over. This cover's really wide. Almost as like I made it too wide. What I'll do is I will print out another copy of that page. Where the heck is that spot? Oh, it's over here. It's so hard for me to see and to keep track, or keep the bone folder on track. See, I was trying to make sure there was enough height-wise. I think I didn't pay enough attention to not needing 6, but 5.5 folded in half. See, that's what it is. This is smaller than the 5.5, which would make a 6-inch. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to finish my sentence. I'm going to reprint, and I'm going to have to print 2 copies of this page, and then measure it and cut it the width I need, and not just cut it in half. Do you see what I'm saying? So now the inside covers, I'll do the same thing. I'll just have to print a second copy of this, and I will do them this way. And that will allow me to even this up with this. All right, so we're going to do that in just a second. Okay, now I'm not going to bend it really yet. I just did it a little bit so I could see the indent of where that was, because I like to do all this stuff while it's flat. do want to make sure it's glued in the center. Don't want anything to bubble up right here. All right, so I'm going to put you on hold and I'm going to print some more papers, and then we'll be right back. So I'm going to print another one of these, and I'm going to need, well, one each of some sort of a front page and a back page. I was going to use, this is the back page, but now I'm not so sure. I know I definitely want to use this as the front, even though it doesn't have lavender on it, but I just absolutely love this bird. But anyway, I'll figure it out, and we'll be right back. All right, I'm back. After I got done, I realized the spine was way too big as far as wide. So I went down to a 1-inch spine, and that seems to be fine. And I'm wondering, I don't think I want to put a tie on it. I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm just going to set it under a heavy book once we get it done, to get this to remember where it's supposed to go, because I'm keeping it pretty flat right now to do the papers. Now, so I redid this. This is a whole new cover, but it's exactly the same except for the size of the spine. Okay, so now to do the inside papers, this is what I've done. In the covers, these are going to be the covers. I've printed out 2 that are the same. And I'm going to put them on this way. I picked the collage pages so that it would be all right to do that. And I'm going to put it on so that the text reads from the right. So when you're looking at it from the right, it's right side up. Does that make sense? Or when you're looking at it this way, it's right side up. In my mind, that looks like it's the right way to go. And so that's going to be the front and back covers. And I ended up with an extra one of these. I'm not really sure why. I think I already had one, and then I printed out 2. So on the inside, we're going to do the same thing. In fact, I'm going to do it this way. It's easier for me to see. So I did put this paper on crooked. This here. It's the only thing I'm kind of upset about. Well, other than the fact I had to make a whole new cover, and now I've got a perfectly good cover sitting over there. Alright, so we're going to want to cut it off here. And then we'll make it to about here. Now this is directional, so we want to make sure we put them both on the same way. I feel like this flower here, I don't know though, the roses kind of look upside down, don't they? No, this is the one right here in the center, draws my eye. So this one is like a sunflower type flower, and so my mind wants the seeds to be up. So we're going to ink this. Get my ink back out. And don't let me forget to ink the other 3. So I'll ink this. In fact, If I was smart, I'd use this one to cut the other one, wouldn't I? Now, if this one's going to have the purple here, do I want to make it exactly the same on the other side, or do I want to move it over here so the purple's on the opposite side? I'm thinking that I want the pattern to be the same of the flowers. So I'm going to match it up exactly like we were going to make a hidden pocket or something. And we'll cut it here. And then we'll cut it here. Couldn't tell if the lead was out or not. I didn't feel like I was making a mark. I'm making my mark. Ended up with more scraps from making the cover than I did making the whole book. So I really didn't have very many scraps at all. Just double check these are the same size. Okay, let's ink this one. I put a sweatshirt on because I was cold over my t-shirt. Now it's kind of warm. Okay, so let's put these in here. Now we want the flower to be right side up on both sides. If you wanted to, if you had some metallic gold paint, you could do dip a little bit of paint on your paintbrush and tap your paintbrush on here and flick it on here, and that would be pretty because there's already a little bit of the purple already built in. Just a side note. Okay, I'm going to glue this down. I had to refill my glue. Must have been my living room that was cold. Usually it's this room. Okay, sunflower. Now this is going to determine the top on our covers, so let's not forget to mark that. So we want this to go from here to here. Like so. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. Let's mark these. Let's put a T for top and a T for top before we forget. I like that as an inside book cover. You don't have to do them the same. You can put a pocket on it. You know, you can do whatever you want. I've put expandable pockets on them before to help fill up some space. because with these kind of books, the way we do our signatures and sew them in, you know, there's space in between. There's kind of quite a bit of space in the cover to make up for the fatness of the outside edge, or the spine is. There's quite a bit of room. So that's different than an ordinary, like a novel or something. Well, it's a good thing that we're doing book corners, because I just noticed I have a little corner here that didn't quite meet. And I'd rather have this straight and straight along here. And have just that little mistake there, then have the whole side of this be crooked to match that up. Okay? Alright, so now we're going to do the same thing on the front. I got a big mess here, don't I, with glue. And the lace that I'm going to use on the front is this lace, which is different than the ones we've used. It's still coffee dyed, but it's a larger version. We were talking about this one only having like a scallop on one side, and this one had it on both sides. And so this one is the same way. It's flat on one side and scalloped on the other. And we're going to look into using that when we put the papers on. So let's flip it over. So this is going to be our cover. And this is going to be the back. Okay, because when you close the book, it's going to be like this. So let's take our papers. And I think I might take that image, that large one, this one, and put it in the center. I may cut this out and put it in the center. So we'll see. That will be after this video, but before the flip through. Right now we're just going to do the papers and get that done. So yeah, I'm going to put the paper on, and then any lace I decide to put on, I will put the lace on afterwards, just because of the way we're doing this. Now I want, on the front cover, I have to decide which butterflies I want. I think what I'm going to do, there's a lot more action going on up here. So I'm going to slide it down. Trying to see. It's kind of hard to see. And of course, right in the purple. Cut it here. And we're going to cut it here. Okay. Oh, I almost did it wrong. I want this butterfly, so I want to line it here. and cut it on the opposite end. So I want to cut it over here and not over here and cut the butterfly in half. That should be right. Very nice. Now, I just got through saying that I wanted the writing to be right side up going this way. Yeah, I do actually think that looks better. Love that butterfly. Love, love, love. I love these flowers too. They're on a separate paper that we were going to use that we didn't get to use. Okay, so let's ink that. Let's cut this one. Now, this one I want to cut from the other side. So I'm going to cut it this way. And then that'll be the same size. And then we can ink them both, just like we did on the inside. You know me and flutterbies. I'm all about rescuing the flutterbies. Yes, I'm taking my sweatshirt off because it is just too warm to function. Okay. So this one is our front cover. That one's our back cover. Now the eyelets I'm going to use, because we're going to put this in with a cord. This video I think is going to go over. Pretty sure it is. I forgot I only had 30 minutes because we had already done 30 minutes in making the book cover. Okay. So let's put this one on. Just marking the top by which way I wanted that text to go. Alright. This to where I have a shadow. almost made it too big. Almost too wide. Yep, very close. Very hard to see. If you wanted to, if you're not going to use eyelets and a cord, even so, we could cover this first and cover this seam. That's why I don't like the seam to land right there. I usually like it to land in the middle. But then we would have had to use 3 papers. So I need to think about that. So now on this one, it's going to be this way. So we want it to go this way, okay? So that means this is going to be the top. And now we can glue it. Just thinking I might want to put something on that. Like one of the scraps from this, where I cut this. Be an awful skinny. You know what we could do, since it's lavender and lace, why don't I go back to this lace? It's just the right width, I think. And we should be able to cover that. And then put the eyelets through. This is so thin. I know the crocodile will punch through it, and if the crocodile punched through it, then we can put eyelets through it. Yes, sirree, Bob. Well, we'll find out, won't we? Got glue on my fingers. It's a new song. I've got glue on my fingers and I can't get it off. Sort of like there's a hole in the bottom of the sea. Okay. Remember, this is not exactly in the center. So I'm going to put my glue a little bit over. I'm winging it, folks. You know I don't like to wing it, but I'm winging it. Now, when we put the eyelets in, we have to make sure that we go through the center of this lace. I just thought of that. Okay. We're going to go, when I mark it on the inside, we're going to go a half an inch in, because this is an inch wide. So we're going to go 1/2 inch in from the edge, way up here. Make a little line. All right, that's going to be our center. And then we're going to go 1/4 of an inch down. And that's where our mark is going to be. That's where we'll make our circle. So we can erase the rest of that. And we'll make our circle right here. Okay. Then we're going to go 1/2 an inch in. And make our line. And then 1/4 of an inch down. And that should be right there. Let me double check that. Want to see if it's straight. Yep. This is lace flat. It's called a T-square. Lace flat up against the edge. And when I line it up with this dot and then look straight up, then this dot is lined right up. So that way I know that it's straight. Very first time I thought of that too. Okay, so we're going to take our crocodile. What do you guys think? Should we run a thing of lace down the inside in here too? I don't want to push it. I don't want to push it. It would be pretty though. I'm already going to use eyelets that I've never used before as well. So, we want to use the larger hole. And I'm going to punch through. Yep, it went right through that lace, no problemo. Okay, now we push it up to the eyelet setter. Flip this over. That one's not quite in the center. Neither one of them are quite in the center of the lace, but these are so big. It's almost too big, isn't it? It's too big for that. It goes too close to the edge. So note to self, if you're going to use these, you have to go 5/8. No. 3/8 down. Let me put you on hold for just a second. Okay, I found these two. They're not lavender, but they're the closest thing. The problem I'm noticing is because of the lace, they don't go through here very far. Now, this one's fine. This one looks like it's just caught on the lace. There's a little piece of lace kind of in there. Yeah, that's a lot better. Okay. Put it on the setting. Line this up. Alright, I really want to mash this because there's not that much sticking through. It worked. this one lined up. Ah, there we go. Good as new. Now, they look crooked even though they're not, because the lace is not exactly in the center. That line where we glued the paper together threw me off a little bit as far as where the center was, just looking at it. That's all right. Handmade. Let me get the cord. This cord is white, which actually we could leave it white. There's white on here. Because I'm wondering if brown would be too dark and it would put, you know what I mean? It would make you notice. Let me test it on a little piece and see how dark it is. Oh, then it would. Oh, it just kind of makes it look dirty to me. Let me do it all the way around. I'm doing it by this eyelet because I want to see. Or this. I don't know. I really don't know. Well, I can untie it. Let's do it white, because all we're going to do is tie it. So I can always untie it and ink it. I'm just going to put the string in, or the cord in here. Doesn't really matter, top or bottom. Okay. Then I just bring it up to about there, and then take this. You know you're going to pull it tight, super tight. And remember that you've got that extra area because it's not through the hole. And you want to tie this as tight as you can. And it doesn't matter where the knot ends up because you're just going to be able to slide it. So now once we put the signature in, all we have left to do, whoopsie, is decorate the cover. So I'm going to put the signature in to show you, but I'm not going to close the cover all up so I can lay it flat to decorate it. This is a little tricky for me sometimes, all the tying and stuff. Okay, I'm not going to cut these off because I may need to untie it. Okay, this is our top. Like so. So let's put our signature in. This is going to be pretty. Open it to the center. Slide it under the cord. I could have made that up just a little bit higher. Here I thought I was going to have extra, and now I cut it kind of close. What is this caught on? There we go. Was the flap on our envelope on the back was caught. There we go. So that's all you have to do to put your signature in. Make sure you put your signature in right side up. Oh, how pretty. That turned out really pretty, you guys. If I do say so myself. Now, I may, in fact, see how that card wants to fall out. I think I'm going to get another one of my fancy little paper clips. And paper clip it on. Okay? Let's do that. And then on the cover, I'm going to do some lace, and I think I'll put that lady's image on the front. Okay, so let's just paper clip it here. Yeah, that's fine. It holds the card on the other side that way too. We'll just paper clip it there, and then that'll hold this card in place. Okay, so this is the cover, and then you're going to open it, and then the rest of the book. And then this is your back cover. Yeah, see, this got caught on that cord. And like I said, you can put a pocket or anything you want. And then there's the back cover. I think that turned out nice. I like that. So you can see that even though we used the same piece of paper, by moving it and picking where we cut it, we've got these two butterflies in the center. We don't even have that same butterfly on here really at all. We use the opposite corner of the paper. And even though they're duplicates, the only thing that you notice really that's the same are these flowers. So yes, I'm going to have to work with this a little bit, but the size is perfect. So that 1 inch was perfect. I'm not really sure how. When I put the holes in, they're over on this side. They're not in the center. Neither one. That is very odd. So I don't know, maybe I'll put something here to help cover up the fact that that's back there. I probably won't. If I was giving this to someone or if it was leaving my house, I actually would probably make another cover, to tell you the truth. Or make like a big one of these pockets in the front to help fill up the space, because this is just off center. And it looks like it's pushed to the back a little bit, which I didn't notice at first, so I don't know, maybe none of you guys would have noticed it either, but I did when I looked at it this way. You see, you can tell. Maybe it's just me. Alright, so that's it for this video series. The next video will be the flip through. I'm going to do a few things to this cover, and then I will see you on the flip side. And that will be just a second for you and a day for me. Okay, bye-bye. Thanks for watching.